But we may be seeing the formulation of a game plan and tactic from this training footage from Gervonta Davis.
Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is gonna feel something from it. And it ain't gonna be easy to hit it.
Tank Davis has always been a highlight reel machine, known for his knockout power and ice-cold calm. But this latest footage, it hits differently. In previous camps, Davis trained for speed and precision. Now he's clearly added serious muscle, and every punch looks like it could break bones. It's a whole new level of danger. Tank Davis has always been a highlight reel machine, known for his knockout power and ice-cold calm. But this latest footage, it hits differently. In previous camps, Davis trained for speed and precision. Now he's clearly added serious muscle, and every punch looks like it could break bones. It's a whole new level of danger.
My biggest fear, I don't never want to get embarrassed. You know?
What you mean? How would you get embarrassed?
As far as like me not doing my job, feel me? Like I'm not worrying about nobody else. Cause I know skill for skill, none of these guys can mess with me. Nobody. I feel like my skills is way better than like Floyd. Like if I'm on my game, well, I take it right hand in hand. But skill-wise, nobody on TV that's fighting right now have more skills than me. Nobody. Like talking about top to bottom list of fighters that's fighting.
So what that got to do with you being, I guess, embarrassing? Like, cause again, we see you make posts on a story like fight not happening. Like,
cause I don't never want to like me not doing my job like all the way, like me not training all the way, me not, you know. So that's what made me like. So I was supposed to have been in camp, you know, and I wasn't in camp. So it was me like, all right.
oh, okay.
It pissed me off so bad that I was like, all right, I don't even want to fight.
Tank's making bold statements too, claiming he could KO a 300-pound man if that man doesn't know how to fight. And honestly, he might not be bluffing. Size doesn't matter if you don't have skills, he said in a recent interview. For Davis, boxing is about precision, timing, and control, not just brute force.
That something like this can happen, but this is social media. This is what is created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, you know, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing and what he's created. This is a little crazy right here. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from him. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference and all that, but he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. You know, it's just going to look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out or, you know, but he's going to feel.
Still, plenty of fans and experts think Davis is just too small to handle Jake Paul. At 5'5", Tank would be giving up serious height and reach. Even bulked up, he's likely stepping into the ring against someone 50 pounds heavier. Critics argue muscle alone won't defy physics, and Jake might be able to absorb more than Tank can deliver.
What do you think is the minimum weight of someone that could beat you in a fight?
Minimum weight?
Yeah,
right.
Someone's like 250.
Yeah, probably like 250, 220 or some shit like that.
With no experience?
All right, yes sir.
Someone with no experience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, hell no. They gotta have experience to beat me.
No, but like a 300 guy, no experience.
No, I'm whooping that ass. I'm whooping that ass.
Some are calling this the next Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. It's another classic size versus skill showdown. Davis is the slick, experienced technician. Jake is the bigger, bolder brawler. In Logan's case, size kept him standing, but Floyd's precision still controlled the fight. Could we see history repeat?
All of a sudden, we want to know who will win in this fight, Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank's too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank's too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis,
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135 pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30 pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is gonna happen versus Jake and Tank.
Boxing analyst Aid Oladipo isn't sold on the timing. He believes this fight is happening too soon in both fighters' careers. Unlike Floyd and Logan, who fought past their primes, Davis and Jake are still building legacies. Oladipo sees this as more spectacle than substance and warns it could sidetrack their long-term goals.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar. It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but Jake Paul now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean,
Gervonta's fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did you
Jake.
ever watch his highlights?
Jake can crack, man.
He's so sick. I love that guy, bro.
At the press conference, Jake leaned into his size advantage, promising to exploit Tank's inside fighting style with long-range power shots. But he also admitted beating Tank won't make him an elite boxer overnight. Instead, he's calling this another step forward, aiming to earn respect by fighting real contenders, not chasing clout.
Whether you agree with it or not, Gervonta is considered the #1 lightweight in the world. And it's a division that includes Shakur Stevenson, a lot of young guns coming up. I'm not any more sure if it's going to include Keyshawn Davis, but it's a hot division. He's considered #1 in that division. Like, that's why I kind of find this a bit, I don't know. Like, there are challenges out there for Gervonta. There are big money fights out there for Gervonta. We want to see Gervonta in those fights. Again, I don't know how many fights people want to see AJ in, just to make the AJ Jake Paul comparison. One, as far as I'm concerned, that was Tyson Fury. I don't really have any interest in seeing an AJ in any other more fights. Whereas Gervonta Davis, I wanted and still do want to see him in so many more fights. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. These exhibition things are, like, really and truly, they should all be when your career's done. Like, when you think of Floyd versus Logan Paul, it's done, right? Floyd versus Conor. Did he have one more after, or was that it? I can't remember. But it was right at the end. It was done, right at the end, even if it wasn't, right at the end. These guys having these exhibition fights in between what is the peak of their career is kind of weird for me. Very, very weird. And then it isn't even comparable to Ngannou Fury, because at least these guys were the same size. Like, Jake Paul is a 215, 220 pound guy. I don't know what he walks around at. Gervonta fights at 135. I'm guessing he walks around about 155.
At the press conference, Jake leaned into his size advantage, promising to exploit Tank's inside fighting style with long-range power shots. But he also admitted beating Tank won't make him an elite boxer overnight. Instead, he's calling this another step forward, aiming to earn respect by fighting real contenders, not chasing clout.
I would say a lot of things, but I think first and foremost is going to just be my reach, my size, being able to keep him away. I think there's a lot of holes in his defense that a lot of people haven't exposed before, and he's a great fighter, one of the best. I'm excited. He's elevating me to a new height, He's making me push myself to my limits. I'm more locked in than ever. But at the end of the day, I know I'm going to be able to come out on top and outbox the guy who's been doing it for 7 times as long as me.
Jake just said that Tank has been boxing for 7 times as long as Jake has been boxing. They started out this press conference by saying Jake started boxing 5 years ago. So 7 times 5 is 35. Tank is what, 30?
Jake isn't backing down. In fact, he told reporters that if he saw Tank in the streets, he'd shake him upside down. He brushed off Tank's fearsome KO history, saying Davis is too small to scare him. That quote went viral fast. And with the trash talk heating up, this fight is shaping up to be as fiery outside the ring as in it.
He's a 5'8" little peon. If we were in the streets, I would grab that little ginger and smack him upside the head and make him forget who the fuck he was. People don't realize I'm a real killer. I really fucking do this shit. YouTube this, YouTube that, Disney that. This shit is not a joke. I'm knocking out the best of the best, beating all of these people time in and time again. And it's about time that you old heads and all these fucking boxers who think they know about the sport put some respect on my name.
Let's be real, the size gap is massive. Davis usually fights at 135 pounds. Jake's expected to enter the ring closer to 215 pounds after rehydration. That's a 60-plus pound difference, the kind of gap you'd never see in a sanctioned fight between weight classes. Some are calling it a mismatch. Others say it's a chance for greatness.
This is a tiny man, 5'5", and I reckon his in-the-ring weight is somewhere around 145 to 150 pounds. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is around 6 foot. We're not quite sure. I think he says he's 6'1" or 6'2". I've heard other people saying they think he's close to 5'11", 6 foot. But the point is, he's a much, much taller man. And in the Mike Tyson fight, he was over 220 pounds. So the size difference is massive. This fight's been made at 195-pound catch weight, but after Jake's rehydrated, assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70-pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound-for-pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? It's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history, and there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant, and it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev fight.
Let's be real, the size gap is massive. Davis usually fights at 135 pounds. Jake's expected to enter the ring closer to 215 pounds after rehydration. That's a 60-plus pound difference, the kind of gap you'd never see in a sanctioned fight between weight classes. Some are calling it a mismatch. Others say it's a chance for greatness.
This means that the weight gap was just a tiny bit under 100 pounds, which is obviously 40 pounds more, 35 pounds more than the gap between Davis and Paul. And there was a 9-inch gap in their height versus what seems to be a 7-inch height gap between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. And if you go back and watch that fight, David Haye wins it fairly comfortably. He uses his speed, his power, he moves around the outside of the ring and comprehensively outboxes Valuev, even hurting him at one point in the fight. I remember getting so excited seeing it and thinking, God, he's actually managed to wobble the giant. This is ridiculous. And so on the surface, that was a bigger gap, a harder fight for David Haye than Gervonta Davis might find Jake Paul as an opponent. The size gap was significantly bigger. And Nikolai Valuev was a guy who won over 50 fights. You know, this was an actual competitive heavyweight boxer who'd beaten some decent names.
But history says skill can still win. In 2009, David Haye beat 7-foot, 360-pound Nikolai Valuev despite a nearly 100-pound difference. Haye outboxed him with speed and timing. That fight proved size isn't everything, and now fans are wondering if Tank Davis can pull off his own David versus Goliath moment.
For all of you Karens who accuse me of being on steroids as the reason for winning all of my fights, we have the strictest drug testing possible for this match. U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. Random drug tests at any moment. Oh, look. They're here now.
Hey, USADA, me in the car. Looking good. See if you're on steroids. Clean as a whistle, contrary to what they say.
Streamer Aiden Ross says Jake's going to shock the world. He claims people doubting Jake don't really understand boxing. Ross believes Jake's progress is legit and he's not just a YouTuber anymore. Jake even agreed to random USADA testing to shut down PED rumors, declaring no excuses. He's ready to prove it's all natural.
You know what I mean? Especially Tank been talking about retiring, so why not get the bag and then go about your business if that's your plan? I mean, if that's your plan to retire, then go get the bag and go about your business. You ain't doing nothing wrong. I'm not against it.
You got some people that are very critical, Tank. Does it make sense depending on what you're in boxing for? Because you got some people that want to fight the best. You got some people that want the accolades, the belts, the undisputed. You got some people that just came into this game like, look, I'm trying to get my family out of poverty and give us generational wealth. Does it all depend on what you decided to box for?
Tank accomplished a lot at a young age.
So who takes it? Tank's speed and skill or Jake's size and confidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's hear who you're backing.